What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the red color, playing as Odin. His name is Count Von Count. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is Kimo. Oh, oh dear. It doesn't get any worse than that. Oh dear. There is a way to deal with this. You have to take the priest off and bash that zebra again to get it to come back. But yeah, it doesn't get any worse than that for Kimo to start this game off. We'll see how things are going to go here. We've got the Cathara of Apollo on the map, boosting the villager move speed, and we've got the Fetters of Fenrir, one hitting units. There's also a ton of secondary hunt on this map. 5 giraffe. It's going to be very nice for both players if they can find it. So we'll have to wait and see how this game's going to go. But Oasis, Odin versus Ra. I'm sure most players would believe that Ra is a really, really strong god on Oasis. However, the more and more you play this matchup with Ra, the more and more you find yourself getting into really difficult situations on this map at the top level. Everyone plays this matchup or plays against Ra incredibly well in today's day and age. It does look like Kimo has managed to bring the zebra back, which is a big win for him. As the Pharaoh is just simply going to continue walking around. He's trying to find himself some herdables here, but it looks like it might just not happen here as the Olfsucks come back and they try to double team the Pharaoh, but Pharaoh's just going to walk back home. Kimo's going to find his hunt, going to be happy about that one. Move over onto that a little bit later, I assume. Count Von Count, however, finding that hunt on the front, he might find it, it might be reasonable for him to go for a really, really fast and aggressive advance time to try and push off this hunt and take some of that for himself here. He is moving back home, but this Skraeling over here, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just drop a forward temple on this position to get a really, really big advantage here over that on that hunt. If he can have an advantage here, he's going to be super happy. He's got a little bit of zebra left over here. He's got only the one dwarf out. He's trying to get some more dwarves, but he can't quite afford it. He should have the food to advance just off of this hunt in his main base if he just builds dwarves after this. He could potentially skip a an ox cart here as well, because he's got a little bit of palm trees left in his main base in order to survive here. He's having a little bit of weird times with his town center here in the early game, but see how things are going to go. Kimo's dropping his temple now, very low on the food here. He's got himself 9 villagers on this hunt for the time being, eating as much of it as he possibly can, but he might, like, if Count Von Count advances here within the next minute, he might be losing out on a significant portion of these giraffe, potentially only getting through this giraffe in total here. We'll have to wait and see how it's all going to go. Kimo's got himself the monument coming up. Temple's about to pop. He's going to have the resources to get himself pickaxe here. There's Count Von Count here. Unfortunately, he does build the ox cart, which means he is shorting himself a little bit of gold here. He's going to get himself the last gold for that dwarf, going for a pretty late advance time, which will most likely allow Kimo to eat the vast majority of this hunt on this location here, and he should be completely fine after all is said and done. But imagine if he was advancing already, like if he was hitting like a 420 here, you can see that this giraffe will be eaten, but these two won't be. You just get pushed off it immediately. So we are seeing the houses coming up over here for Kimo, walls as well on this location to boot. As Heimdall just about to pop here for Count Von Count. No real surprises there. Heimdall being a really, really good choice in this matchup. For one, it can be used to undermine and take out. Literally, you could take out 2 towers with this undermine. If you watch Soup's video on it, you can click undermine over here and it'll go zhunk from here all the way over to here. It can be really, really brutal, as we do see Kimo going to be attempting to shank down this house over here as Count on Count attempts to trap the villager in here. Absolute genius. He's gonna trap the. I mean, it looks like the villager is gonna be able to get out of here through the garrisoning on the tower. But that's funny. That's very funny there. As the villagers, they are now onto all 3 of the giraffe. They've all been shot down here, so at least they're gonna be finishing off, as we do see an attempted longhouse here to block these villagers, and Kimo has to run all the way back home. He is up through tar here, 45% of the way through. The villagers should manage to survive on this for the most part. I don't think he's going to lose a villager here, unfortunately or fortunately. Could find ourselves getting a decent game here as this villager is attempting to make a dart for that tower. Probably not a bad idea to drop the undermine at this point to push that villager out of the tower here, as the villager's turning around, taking a little bit of a fight on this location. Count on Count going for the kill here. He's almost going to get it. He does get one villager kill there. Going to be retreating with his Ulfsark afterwards, as the classical age just about to hit for Kimo. He's going to have himself the Pharaoh and the Priest to defend for the time being. As we see a cheeky shifting sands over here, as Count on Count's going to take this opportunity to simply try and take this tower out, as his army is going to be retreating away. He's getting himself up the longhouses now. He's currently got a couple of 100 wood just sitting idle in that one longhouse he didn't build over there. As Count's damage done in the early stages of the game here is fairly significant. However, he will be losing his Iron ER, not for free, for the cost of a shifting sands, but we'll have to wait and see how this is all going to go. As houses coming around this tower, there is still that undermine remaining. Count right now, he's got a lot of resources in the bank. He looks like he's going to be going back home to simply just drop a town center behind all of this pressure, just accepting that the pressure is over. He doesn't need to do anything behind this. He's pushed off of the hunt. He's caused problems for Kimo. Kimo's throwing down farms and everything, as an armory going to be coming up, and he's going to be going for a 1 town center fast heroic here. But Count's going to be happy about the position he's found himself in. He's still got the monkeys on the map somewhere. Up the top here are some monkeys, and I imagine there's going to be... Yeah, they're all up the top, so we could send units over there as well. We also see Kimo is... I don't know how. He's sent a villager back over onto this hunt to eat that one up right on the front there. As Kimo's going to be able to hit that next stage very, very shortly. The question is, what does Count do behind this town center grab? Does he continue building units? Does he go for the heroic gauge? Go for like a Njord Walking Woods combo here? Normally, so we do have a comment in the chat by Hell's Ravage that eating baboons feels so wrong, but normally I would agree with you. If you're playing Greek or you're playing Egyptian, it's a little bit inefficient to walk up there, drop the granary down. The baboons go very far, and it can be really tough to eat them. But with specifically Odin and, well, definitely Thor having Pig Sticker, but with Odin and Thor having the boost on Hunt and having the Ox Cart, you can come over and you can just kill one at a time and move the Ox Cart around to have an efficient time on those baboons. And it's actually an extra, 600, 1200 Hunt up on that top corner. So it can be a decent idea there. As Hathor is coming through for Kimo here, and we do see the raiding cavalry has spotted a villager. Kimo gets punished for his greed on that giraffe over there, gets sent back home. We'll see how it's all going to go, as now the town center is up. The armory is up also for Count on Count. So he's got his 2 town centers, he's got his armory, he's going for the heroic age. We'll see if he decides to go Njord or he goes for the Skadi here, as the longhouse and houses coming up around this gold mine. The more and more I see this, the more and more I feel like this shouldn't be a thing that's allowed. I'm looking at this from a competitive standpoint, and I look at building buildings around a gold mine saying, this is something that is maybe just a little bit too strong with not very much counterplay to those on the defensive end of things. Sure, you can build barracks and classical fight or whatever, but it just ruins some of the time. Some of the it makes life just that little bit more harder for a player who is trying to play a little bit of a different strategy. which I don't like. I don't like that. I like the fact that you can play kind of any strategy and try and make a win with it, as opposed to being forced out of a strategy based on a style of play. Well, based on just like one mechanic, which is chucking buildings down in a gold mine, making things really, really difficult. We do see a locust coming down on this side over here. One villager kill only with that one, as the Hersa are back to defend. Maybe going to pick off another villager over here, as he does manage to do so. And the Rock going to be moving around this location, trying to find some picks here. It looks like Count Von Count, he's not going to be wasting any resources in the watchtowers here. Some Ulfsarks coming through here to try and defend on this one, as the villager trying to shank down this wooden wall. Kimo is slowly but surely making his way through this middle of the map, trying to deal with these walls over here and everything else. But Count Von Count has hit the heroic age, has gone through Skadi here. And I imagine he's going to be throwing down his hill fort over on this position here as well. As the cavalry moving around the map, still looking for some raids. The dwarves do finish up on this gold mine. All the villagers moving back over onto the main town center here to get himself some herdables. Taking his time in this matchup. Kimo's going to take this opportunity now to get this settlement up. We don't have ourselves a siege works just yet. And it looks like Kimo, look at this. He's almost having to ignore this gold mine for the time being to move up onto this gold mine. He can move back here and shank these longhouses down, but it's just so many lost resources to make that work.
Gary.
As the Rock's picking up the Wadjet and the Patsukos over here. Not wanting to get frozen by the Frost Giant there. As the hill fort is up, and now Count Von Count can start making those very, very deadly Huskarls. Huskarls are a really, really strong unit against specifically the Egyptian heroic age army. So cavalry, they don't really do that well against Huskarl. Definitely chariot archers don't either. And Huskarl are really, really cheap with, I mean, they're not cheap, but 40, 70, 75 wood really isn't that much when all is considered. As unfortunately, their losers is Patsukos for not very much here. This Count Von Count's going to be retreating away. And the raiding cavalry here getting chased down to boot. We see some more units coming out of this position here, trying to make raiding cavalry on this position. As the Raven sitting over here, doesn't really know where Kimo's gathering gold from at this point. But as Count Von Count continues here, we see some villagers trying to move in, trying to mine this gold mine here underneath all of this nonsense. As one of the chariot archers gets frozen there, and Count Von Count gets a free kill. As the Rock does find the villagers on this gold mine, but for him to attack this one, it can be a little bit difficult here, as the Raven does spot this gold mine over here. More units coming through, pushing the villagers off here. That's 3 villager kills here for Count Von Count. He's going to be feeling really, really good about his position here economically. So he just has to wait it out and see what he can do here. As the chariot archers over here going to be getting taken down very, very quickly. We see the heavy Ulfsark coming through on this position. We've got the cavalry getting taken out here nicely. As the heavy Huskarl moving through here to try and take out these units as best as they can. The Pharaoh going to be coming in here to try and take out that Frost Giant. Does a lot of damage here. And Count Von Count not really microing it, but he does manage to get forward onto that Pharaoh. Going to be taking that one out. Thank you for the 2 months, Verone, 4 there. Appreciate you, my friend. As the villagers moving back over onto this gold mine to try and start mining that one here. And the big thing that can happen very shortly here is a huge frost onto however many villages this is. It's 14 villages. You can frost the army as well and get a huge amount of damage coming through here as the Pharaoh tries to make the dart for the town center. He will be losing that one there. As we do see the dwarves moving over here right underneath that rock here, as Kimo's going to be noticing that. He might be able to drop that Wadjet anytime soon and get some good damage done. But the Huskarl have moved straight onto this gold mine, doing so much damage. You see a marker getting dropped as well. But this is so brutal for Kimo. He's losing so many villagers to this raid at this point as he sends some more units back over here. But these are heavy Huskarl, and they just do so much. They're so valuable here. Now that the raiding cavalry are coming out, that there will be some sort of an ability, not the raiding cavalry. Now the axemen are coming out. There will be some sort of ability to deal with these Huskar. But is it too little too late after all of the damage has come through as Count von Count is continuing to send the Frost Giants in onto this position, and we do see the Frost getting dropped over here as a hill fort gets dropped behind this Frost. This is going to be a brutal strategic play here from Count von Count as the army is completely immobilized, allowing this hill fort to control this gold mine. This gold mine over here is controlled by the Frost Giants, moving his Frost Giants over here to pick off anything that's going to be coming out. Kimo's got no gold left in the bank here. He can trade some for a little bit. While this is all going on, the Dwarves going to get pulled off of the gold mine here, going to attempt to shank down that Wadget as Kimo's not paying attention here. Does manage to pick up that Wadget to pull him off to a different location while this is all going on. The hill fort is now up here for Count von Count. Count von Count still has got himself undermined, which means if he can prevent these units from retreating, which it seems like he may be able to do if he can get all of the walls set up. Looks like he's not quite able to get it up in time here as the army is attempting to retreat through here. But here's the thing. He can very easily push through this town center now. He's got himself 2 Frost Giants plus Undermine plus these very high damage heavy Huskars here, a 9.6 damage per second. He can very easily move forward and just clean this town center up, have a 2-to-1 town center advantage moving forward here, and be able to start moving in onto this gold mine as well. As the town center is starting to get taken out on this position, the cavalry getting cleaned up as well. As I imagine he uses the undermine here, right? As this army not quite paying attention just yet, sitting underneath the town center fire here, going to be taking a little bit of damage, but in that moment, Kimo is just so far behind. You can see by the score, 2,700 to 1,800. It just feels like he can't continue here. What a brutal display from Count von Count, showing something that's a little bit contrary to popular belief. I believe people go with the idea that Ra is strong on Oasis because he can farm here, because he doesn't need to have Hunt, and your opponent doesn't have Hunt either. But what the fact of the matter is that Oasis, while you don't have that much food or that much Hunt on the map, you have tons of food here in Herdables. And the fact that Ra has got awful scouting means that, for the most part, any civilization is going to have an advantage on the goats over the Ra and be able to find themselves an advantage on these second gold mines, like Count von Count has found here in this game, to get a very, very easy victory over the Ra player. And it seems the more and more I watch games and play games with Ra on Oasis, the more and more you realize that, this actually isn't Ra's best map by any stretch, simply because you just don't get that many goats. And I'm beginning to feel like maybe it's worth it for a Ra player to actually sacrifice a villager gathering in the early game to get some scouting done, to try and find himself more goats on the map, mostly just to take them away from his opponent, because it's so absurdly difficult to play. It's so absurdly difficult to play Ra here against the boosted economy of all those goats, and the fact that gold mines are so difficult to secure here. But a really, really nice display here from Count von Count. I think that there might be a discussion to be had about these sorts of buildings. It's not the biggest of deal for Norse, but because the buildings are a little bit weaker. But when you start playing like Hades, Poseidon, or even like the Atlantean gods as well, things start becoming really, really obnoxious for Egyptian players here as well. And even not just Egyptian players, but just defensive booming players find themselves having a really difficult time against this. And whether or not it's too strong, not too strong, I'm not actually sure. It's just something to have a conversation about, I think, and see where you can see if it actually is that big of a problem or not. I'm sure that most players would, on the other side of the stick, on the side that is not the Egyptian side of the stick, would say this is completely fine. And I think most Egyptian players would say it's a little bit too strong. So I don't really know what the answer is there. But if you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.